Morning, everyone. We are starting our live stream now for the 4th of July. I appreciate everyone who watches this video. Please share it, like it, comment on it. The more people who do, the more we have an opportunity to have an occasion to have more people get involved with the video itself. So I appreciate that very much for those of you who do take part. So why am I here? First off, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Mike Vick. I am the state representative candidate nominee for the Democratic Party in Indiana's 29th district, which comprises mostly Noblesville. There's a small piece of Fishers, Indiana, that is included in the district, as well as some rural areas that are mostly northeast of Noblesville. I am running for state rep. The November election is going to be on November 3rd this year. So I'm running against Chuck Goodrich. He's a one-term incumbent. Chuck is the head of Gaylord Electric, which is an employer here in the Noblesville area, non-union employer incidentally. I am a Democrat. I have been my whole life. But I want to talk a little bit this Independence Day about reasons why maybe we should be less polarized, less partisan, more respectful of our fellow Americans on issues of politics where we disagree. Now, that's not to say we shouldn't disagree. That's not to say we shouldn't even do so vehemently and stridently, but we should not take it to the level of personal attacks that we've seen increase. I mean, it's been going on for forever, for time immemorial. Political discussions, political debates have turned into fights, have turned into broken friendships, familial problems, even war, of course, and violence have accompanied political disagreements. But the level of discourse in this country has been, I believe, worse than I've ever seen it. Just the other day, one of my friends, longtime friends, I do consider her such, although maybe she doesn't consider me such anymore. My former teacher, when I was in elementary school, is a Trump supporter. And I spoke with her on her Facebook page in connection to a post that she had made, and we got into kind of a heated discussion, of course, and I was sharing my views and she was sharing hers. And she was less than inclined to continue the discussion, and I was posting things in response to things she was saying, but she just, kind of wanted to shut down and not talk about it, or to, belittle my beliefs or whatever. And then by the end of it, she had essentially said that I was, based on my political beliefs, an enemy of the American people, and that she would defend herself and her family from my political beliefs by violent means if necessary. She mentioned, the Second Amendment, that she had arms and what have you. Now, I am a proponent of the Second Amendment. I believe in the Second Amendment. I'm actually a member of an organization called the Socialist Rifle Association. And I believe that other than, going forward with definite common sense regulations like enhanced background checks, these kinds of things, that in general, the best rule of thumb is to work on mental health issues, to truly do this, not just talk about it, but free at the point of service mental health for all, Medicare for all. And to teach children to be cooperative rather than competitive in their environments at school. That I believe that reactionary politics and conspiracy theories often fuel violence, and that a lack of economic opportunities often fuel violence. Guns are not the problem. Bad public policy is the problem. Bad politicians are the problem. But at the same time, I certainly don't want to be someone to try to use Second Amendment solutions to political problems. So we need to be discussing these things in the public square as much as possible. And so that's one of the things that I wanted to mention. And I have a link in the description of this video to a post that I made, an opinion piece that I made about the politics of love. And that piece I posted on Medium. I might just go ahead and read a little bit of it here. And I apologize, I don't have like a teleprompter app here, so I'll be reading on it from another computer. But I guess I want to say that I favor a left libertarianism. I am a left libertarian. I believe in economic democracy, and I believe in libertarian values, in that we should not be forcing people to adhere to our beliefs. And I believe in civil liberties. I believe in also the notion of peace and freedom, that we should not be needlessly going to war to defend supposed interests. I think that in most instances we can defend our interests, economic or otherwise, through non-confrontational means. But obviously, I disagree with many people who would be on the authoritarian left or the authoritarian right. And other than on social issues, many Democratic elected officials, and obviously most, if not all, Republican elected officials would be classified as the authoritarian right. That may hit some folks weirdly, hit your ears weirdly, but it's a fact in any event. So you can look at that and study that issue by going to a website called politicalcompass.com. And there's a link in my Medium piece to that website. You can take a test, find out where you fall. A lot of Democrats actually fall in what's called green quadrant, the left libertarian quadrant, where I am. But we're forced to vote for people who don't really ascribe to those views because of the two-party system that we have. And many Republicans fall in what's called the purple quadrant. It's the bottom right. It's libertarian right. They believe in many things that I believe in, peace and freedom, civil liberties, reforming police, these kinds of things. They're on the libertarian right. They may be members of the Libertarian Party, they may not be, but they feel forced to vote for people in the authoritarian right in the Republican Party because they have no other option on their ballot, which is a problem. We can solve that problem by reforming our ballot, moving away from plurality voting, going to things like score voting, which is something that's on my website, and you can find out about it there, or by going to websites like starvoting.us. There's a rangevoting.org, as well as a great website to study this issue. But to get back to my Medium post, I wanted to mention to folks that you can, again, you can find that link in the description of this video. I'm just going to quote here. I favor left libertarianism. I disagree with authoritarians of both the left and right on matters of war and peace, and the degree to which they use force and the threat of force to get their way on economics and social policy. So as a leftist, I also disagree with rightist libertarians on many matters of economics and social policy, as I've already discussed. But we often agree with each other on other matters of war and peace, and as well as on issues of personal liberty. But I find it better as we enter this Independence Day, we can promote this unity of folks on the bottom, on the left and the right. Regular people who just, all we want is life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. And we can continue to debate about the issues where we disagree, but I hope and pray that people see the error in feeling that if you disagree with me, I'm your enemy, which is just not the case. As I mentioned in this piece, and as I mentioned before, I'm a theologically conservative evangelical Christian. What that means is I believe that the Bible is the Word of God. Now, it's okay if you don't believe that, but I say that only to mention that because of that, whatever your beliefs are, whatever they happen to be, I love you. And, I believe in hearing you out. And I hope you believe in hearing me out. And we can talk about our differences, but it's not helpful when we take that to the extreme of losing family members over it, or losing friends over it, or being unwilling to even talk about it with people who disagree with us. So, I don't feel that is a good route, and it's the route that we're taking. And I'll leave you, with a quote. This is what I left folks with a quote with on my Medium piece, and that is a quote from Abraham Lincoln, a person obviously who knew what it was like to feel the sting of people believing that he was their political enemy, and that he personally was responsible for their woes, and that we started a war over the fact that he was elected and would potentially do away with the horrible institution, of course, of slavery. And I mentioned some things about Lincoln and the early Republican Party in my piece. But his quote is, a famous quote: "We are not enemies but friends. We must not be enemies. Though passion may have strained, it must not break the bonds of our affection. The mystic chords of memory will swell when again touched, as surely they will be by the better angels of our nature." So that is Abraham Lincoln speaking on this very issue. After, I believe this was a quote that was after the end of the Civil War. The end of the bloodiest battle we'd ever seen. More Americans killed in this war than any other war we've ever had before or since. And he was saying, we must not be enemies. We're Americans. So in that vein, I want to let you all know about one other thing, and there's a poll in this video. Take the poll. I'm interested to hear what your thoughts are on this. There's a young man running for the U.S. Senate in Kansas. His name is Brian Matlock. Brian describes himself as a Republican socialist. Now, this is crazy to a lot of people to hear this. But Brian explains it very well, and his politics and mine are actually interestingly, intertwined in that, I am a theologically conservative evangelical Christian. Brian, I believe, has that background, though I don't believe that he currently describes himself as a Christian. I don't know that he believes in Christianity anymore, but he can speak to that himself. In any event, he is a Republican, and he has a familial history of being a Republican. But based on his personal experiences, Brian has come to identify with socialism. And the interesting thing, if you look at the history of the Republican Party, is that many of the early Republicans would, by all accounts, be deemed as socialists. I speak about this in my Medium post that, again, you can find and view and read. So Brian and I are going to have a talk basically right after I end this live video. We're gonna talk, get to know each other a little better, and I'm hoping, and I believe this, Brian is open to this as well, that we can do a live video, a recorded video, or a potentially live video where we discuss these things, and discuss the ways in which the two-party system is tough on all of us, that's not terribly representative of the majority of Americans, and the ways in which it makes it difficult for folks like myself and folks like Brian, whose views maybe don't neatly fit within the box of the two-party system, but that we feel like because of the system being the way that it is, we run as Democrats or we run as Republicans. And that's not to say there's anything wrong with running as a Democrat or running as a Republican. If you're a Democrat, if you're a Republican, again, I love you. I want you to talk about our differences and our similarities. And I hope to earn your vote here in District 29, whatever your political affiliation or non-affiliation. But I think it's important for us to have these discussions, especially in light of what's going on today in our country. And so I'll talk briefly about that as well. Today there will be a Noblesville 4th of July parade. I will not be there. I'm not there, not because I don't want to be. I would love to be in that parade. I was very disappointed that I wasn't going to be able to be in that parade, but it's not safe. I don't care what anyone says right now. We have had a massive spike in cases of COVID because of reopening of the economy. Now, we need to deal with reopening the economy in a safe way. It's very important that we do that, but it's not possible to do it, based on, the current situation and the level of people as you walk out not wearing masks, not social distancing. So we need to do that, and I hope that people who do go out to the parade, I don't begrudge you going out to that parade. I would like to be there with you. I am with you there in spirit. I love the 4th of July. I'm going to be celebrating it with my family. And I'm hoping to do some videos of that that you all can get involved in and share and what have you. But I won't be in the parade. Now, my opponent, Chuck Goodrich, will be, and I mentioned that on my Facebook page and on my Twitter page, which you can find on my website. It's votevic2020.com. My Twitter is @votevic2020. And you can find my comments on Chuck being there. I don't believe that it's safe. I don't believe he's being responsible or, putting people first, as he likes to say, by going out there and campaigning, using this as an occasion to campaign in the midst of a pandemic face to face. I would love to be knocking on doors right now. I don't believe it's safe to do so. I will be near the parade because my in-laws live near the parade route. I may even be able to see Chuck and his group of folks out there. I hope they're masked. I hope they're social distancing, and I hope you will be too. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it at that. You can check out my Medium piece in the description of this video. Follow, share, like, comment, and of course give what you can financially. We need your help to get our message out. Many of the things like texting and voter contact materials, all of these things that we need to win this election, and we can win it based on the numbers. I've seen these numbers. It's doable, but we need some funds to get our message out. Not a lot, whatever you can spare. If you can do a small monthly, that's encouraged as well. Any amount is great. Obviously, if you can give more, please give more. And we appreciate that. You can do that on our website. We have an ActBlue account set up. You can just go to our website. Again, it's votevic2020.com. V as in Victor, O-T-E, V as in Victor, I-C-K, 2020.com. Click on the donate button in the top, or if you're on your mobile, you can click on the three lines to get the menu, and you can donate there, or you can scroll down and there's a link to the Victory Fund is what we call it. So give what you can. We need $10 for boosting our videos. We need $100 from someone to start our Twitter, our texting stuff, and we can do that right now. We have money in the bank. I'm working on getting some materials out right now as we speak, but it's going to take more to keep that push going through to November. So anything that you can spare is great. And tell your friends about us. Tell your friends to give, and tell your friends to share and like our posts, and comment on them as well. So thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I'm going to be sharing it to some other pages that maybe you follow, and if you don't, go follow some pages. Follow my friend's page. There's a page that I set up called Friends of Mike Vick, and you can follow that through our Facebook page, and you can share things very easily there, whereas you can't share things directly to my page that are easily visible by other people. So you can share things there to my group. It's a Facebook group. You can share them there. We would love to have you there sharing your links, your comments, your questions. You can share them on this post as well. So thank you so much for tuning in. Have a happy 4th of July. I appreciate you, and I hope to hear from more of you soon. You're going to be hearing from me, and the more you give, the more you will be able to hear, and your friends will be able to hear as well. So thank you so much.